the internet. Look this up. According to the fan site, Felix Fellows is not 5P's actual name. His birth name was David Fellows. Dirty Davy was 5P's previous stage name. He used to sell records and perform live shows in Portland under that name. There are some people selling his old mixtapes on auction sites. One is apparently called Dirty Devil and another Dirt Poor. His first mixtape, released as Dirty Devil from the early 90s. There's discrepancies and debates about what year actually it was released based on some of the pop culture references, with the range throughout to be somewhere between 1992 and 1994. One of the songs, Yes I Can Jump, seemed to be at the center of the confusion. Some fan sites claim there are multiple versions with different track lists and song lengths on them. Though because there's very little evidence of the mixtape online as it is, it's even harder to verify that information. Yes, I Can Jump. Song that was on 5P's mixtape Dirty Devil seems to be the only song that didn't make it into his studio album that people thought should have. It's based on a popular movie in 1992 called White Men Can't Jump. This reference has caused many confusion among the fan base. Because of it, it is agreed that the mixtape had to come out in 1992 at the earliest, but others pointed out that Fellows referenced seeing the movie on his 17th birthday. This would have been in 1994. Some take this to mean that the album had to have been released in 1994 at the earliest. Others claim that he was likely just trying to make himself sound older, since in response to some of the more questionable lyrics, he has stated multiple times that he was just a dumb kid when it was released. Let's go back. Let's do... Nope. Dirt Poor. Dirt Poor was a mixtape by Dirty Davy in 1996. There's a lot of online discourse from people who like to point out that in one of the songs he includes someone that will be revealed to be his own distant cousin in a list of attractive women, Raina. The lyrics to one of the songs, Heat, mentions a very different prominent female actress, models, and musicians from the 90s, and provides a crude punter line about what Fellows felt about them. When re-released in 1999, some of the rhetoric was toned down to be less overtly profane, and the line referring Raina was clumsily replaced by Dana, a reference to a character from the X-Files. So that had to be after he found out. Maybe? Huh. Okay. Let's search for David Fellows. Huh. Modern. Actually, what was the Dirty Davy? Search. Really? All right. Did I look up Roottree? I think I did. Yeah, I did. Let's just see. Nope. Roottree Company. Many have changed, or much has changed over the last many months at the Roottree Candy Company. One is the website. Although during your last search you only got a good look at the history page, the design itself has clearly become much more sleek and very corporate. Gone is any history focused on Elias Roottree. Instead, the site seems to focus on the present status of their candy offerings and high-quality JPEGs of each of their products. There are also some small ads for Root, which is the clothing company owned by the Roottree Candy Company. There is a small section at the bottom that lists the president as Clark Rafferty LaRoe. A short bio mentions that he was responsible for some of their marketing before taking the reins after the unfortunate plane crash. There is also a small memorial session for those that perished in the plane, including the Roottree Sisters, Carl and Brenda. Wait, what? We did not know that. Okay, so in plane crash, it was the sisters, Carl, Brenda, Mark Sanchez, Kurt Johnson, Trish King, and Eliza Nicholson. Let's go to Mark Sanchez. Kurt and Mark were the pilots. Random. During this crash last December, although the NTSB investigation has not been released, foul play has been ruled out. Trish King was on the cabin crew as the Rootree's private jet. Elizabeth Nicholson, who went by Eliza, lived in a house with her family about 200 yards from the section of the woods where the plane crashed. She reportedly had a heart attack during the commotion, and her family was unable to reach emergency services due to the overwhelming phone lines and ongoing storm. Her son-in-law managed to flag down an officer responding to the plane crash, but it was too late. That sucks. Okay, and then the Roottree Rift. The 3 press releases from the Roottree Company after the releases of 6 pieces were referred to as the Roottree Rift due to the clear conflicts between them. The first was fairly standard. It stated that there was no president. Okay. It said there was no president, but that the entire family was made aware of the release of the book and that they would be meeting as soon as possible. Only then would they verify the legitimacy of the claims it raised and decided next steps. The second release was emailed to business newspapers 3 hours later and announced that after a vote, Ron Roottree will be taken over temporarily as the interim president. It also went on to state that Ron was aware of the book, had verified the claims within, and were looking to compensating Mrs. Matson and her family immediately. It also stated that the company lawyers would be taking immediate steps from the family to revisit the Klein's trust terms to make sure nothing like this would ever happen again. So why was he skipped over? Was initially said to actually was initially said to be the interim president alone. Now let's move it. Okay. It was quickly clear to business reporters and analysts that the time between the two press releases would not have been logistically sufficient to gather a majority of the family, even using conference calls. This was reported on many news channels, and a third, much shorter press release came the next day. It claimed that a draft of the announcements was made prematurely, and that Clark Rafferty LaRoe and Ron Roottree will be taken over as the company's first joint presidents. It also states that any compensation planned will be based on a stringent verification process. So I wonder what he did. Okay. Let's see if we can do this. The rift. They ran an article about 2 months after the Roottree rift about what really happened with Roottree. The article mentions that nobody from Roottree that they reached out to was willing to go on the record. Instead, the timeline of events have been constructed from public record, accidental leaks, and a source on the inside. The only parts that are new to you are the only most vague parts, the ones supposedly confirmed by their anonymous source. The timeline says that the family actually held a preliminary vote after Roottree died, but before the release of 6 pieces, and decided they wanted Ryan to take over because of his experience running RR Productions, and because he was a well-known and well-respected Roottree, but he seemed way too eager and personally motivated. They were worried he would get the plant's trust to remove Robbie Roottree. Okay. But ultimately wasn't chosen because of his still dislike of his brother, Robbie. The family was notoriously unwilling to do anything that could risk their wealth. They stalled, and Ryan became frustrated with the delay. When 6 Piece came out, he saw his chance to force action while the family was in the limelight and released a press conference himself in an attempt to get the ball rolling faster. Leaked the info himself to push progress along with this caused chaos within the family. They tried to save face by allowing Ryan to take over as co-president with Clark. But according to Business Watch's source, Ryan was impossible to deal with. He seemed like he was unwilling to protect the clan's trust, and they eventually let him go. But was let go due to his due to his personality, due to being impossible to work with. After that, the roles passed solely to Clark, who nobody was excited about, but seemed like the safest choice. That kind of makes sense. Alright, what was it? It was periodical. I did read this. County music news difficulty. All right. I still have. Oh, there's only one left. Let's search Anonymous. Second, you go under random. I don't think you're actually going to be needed. Second high profile case after Felix Fellows of the potential new Roottree being added to the clan's trust. Instead of claiming herself a Roottree, however, she claimed she slept with Guy Hudson and that her daughter was a Roottree. Okay. The accusations came during the height of Roottreemania and began with a brief TV interview. She appeared in the shadows with a disguised voice and promoted an article about herself in News Time. In the TV interview and the article, she referred to her daughter as Jane Doe Roottree. The name Anonymous was not self-inflicted. It seems to spring up organically because no one knew how else to refer to her. During the day after the News Times article, Sam publicly supported Anonymous due to some parts of the story she found particularly credible. With the momentum from Sam's endorsement, Anonymous with the media buzz. Anonymous went on a media blitz. Ultimately, this backfired. As many details came out, people became skeptical of her story due to the extreme similarity to 5Ps. Her accusations even included many of the same details as his mother's story. This included her job, secretary, and the time period late 70s. After fumbling the 5P story so publicly, the Roottrees were more prepared to handle all Clan's trust-related cases. Within a week, a DNA test proves that Anonymous' daughter could not be related to the Rootrees. This was announced at a joint press conference with lawyers representing both Anonymous and the Rootrees. Each party and sued their respective clients provided accurate samples. Immediately after the negative results were released, many of those who had already been skeptical felt vindicated. Others who had built up hope that history could repeat itself after 5Ps felt duped. Many people suspected the whole affair had been a hoax to gain fame and money. Many demanded that Anonymous be held accountable, and some people even began to attempt to track down her true identity. The Roottree Company felt pressured to put on the second statement to try to curb some of the backlash, even going as far as to say, though it was scientifically proven that Jane Doe Roottree is not a Roottree, that doesn't mean that her mother and Guy Hudson were not involved in an affair. She has every right to make her claim, as it has been verified that her stories about guys were not exaggerations. Oh wow, please leave their family alone. Many people claim this high-profile anticlimax and public backlash was the beginning of the end for Roottreemania, since much of the fun was the shared fascination about secret Rootrees. Others think that, like any fad, it just ran its course naturally. Regardless, this was the first notable event related to the release of 6 pieces, and things soon went back to normal. Jane Doe Roottree has already been eliminated as a potential new Roottree by the company's lawyers, who are the ones verifying your work. Anonymous affair does not appear on your updated tree. Does not. Okay. Is not part of the tree. I can delete her later. So you were a red herring. Let's periodicals. There we go. An anonymous woman appeared on the cover of News Time holding a picture of her daughter, Jane Doe Roottree. The first and only mention of the phrase anonymous in News Time came the week after, when they issued an apology for featuring her in the first place. A summary of the initial cover article has been added to your evidence. Pickle tea. Is not afraid to expose details that other publications would avoid. Shortly after the announcement that Jane Doe Roottree was not a Roottree, Pickle Tea exposed personal details about the story of Anonymon under the headlines Anonymon the Anonicon. They said Anonymon worked as a manager at a department store in North Carolina, and her daughter's name was Courtney May. Is that accurate? They also said that the woman that vouched for her famous cover story, they didn't identify News Time, perhaps to avoid being sued, is named Corinne S. And that she had filed for bankruptcy. There we go. The article speculates that Anonymous and Corinne were in on it together, and even speculates that they might have been lovers. Pickle Tea is not a credible publication. Their information wasn't particularly actionable. Very few people seem to notice or care. Alright, let's go back. Let's look at Courtney May. Let's go back here. What was... What was there? What was the thing about November? Here we go again. It was determined through a DNA test that Anonymous' daughter was not a Roottree. This article, which did refer to her daughter as Jane Doe Roottree, did not coin the phrase Anonymous, came before all that, right around the time of her first TV interview. This is a summary. An anonymous woman appeared on the cover of News Time shortly after 5 Piece was confirmed to be a member of the Roottree family. In an homage to the previous cover, she holds a photo of her daughter. Unlike 5 Piece, she wished to remain anonymous, and both photos were obscured. The anonymous woman claimed to have had an affair with Guy Hudson while she was working as his secretary. She She and another woman were hired at the same time during a transition period, while many of the secretaries that had worked under Zach Martin were already gone. She says that she and the other woman were both underqualified, as neither had typewriter experience. According to other staff members interviewed, Guy had his own requirements for hiring women. Guy Hudson liked to throw lavish parties, and the longer he was president, the more excuses he found. The anonymous woman posts that their parties might seem to be an excuse to have after parties at Guy's home, featuring much more alcohol and other substances. She claimed she slept with him at one of these after parties. She confronted Guy when she found out she was pregnant. Guy didn't seem fazed, and they came to an arrangement. He paid her a significant amount of hush money on a regular basis under the table. She used it to move away and start a new life with her daughter. When Guy died, the money stopped coming, and she assumed things had run their course. She went back to work at the department store and hoped that nobody would ever look too closely at how she paid for her house. She told everyone that her daughter's father walked out one day and never came back. She claimed that after seeing the fantastic article in News Time, she realized that she wasn't the only one this happened to. While she never worked at the Roottree Company at the same time as 5P's mother, Joanna, their stories seemed very similar, and she knew Felix was telling the truth right away. The article presented no tangible evidence of the anonymous woman's time at Roottree, and all of the payments were allegedly made in cash. I wonder if we can do the pick thing for that. However, using details that she provided to News Time, the reporters were able to reach out to the other woman hired at the same time, who also remained anonymous. They successfully fact-checked the timeline for both women and confirmed the existence of the infamous after-parties. 5P's case was strengthened, and their news story was subsequently published. Let's see if we can get this off. Oh, we can't. Let's see. Oh. I feel like, oh no, that's not you. This has to be Guy. Guy probably has a lot of freaking children. Wait, the star is the notable. All right. There is okay. You're the only one with a freaking star. So I'm guessing this is you. Oh, this is new. That actually sucks. David. I've been spelling your name wrong. David Fellows. There's not a musician. Oh, there it is. Do you count as an artist or a musician? I'm gonna say musician. What did I put for? Yeah. We know. Miracle Ron Felix. This should be the Riley. Then there was Joanna. Which we know is you. this has to be Guy. It's actually interesting. It's not for everybody. Guy was the 3rd president. One, two, three. Oh, we need 4, don't we? Was he the first affair? Because this can also... we don't have a picture of him. I think it has to be here because of the notable. Okay. First, final. This is crazy. Wait, what were you? You were a cashier. All right. I feel like that's right. Let's look at 6 pieces. I think I did this already. 6 pieces, periodical. Nope. Nope. Alright, I technically did the rift, but let's do. Alright. Oh crap. And yeah, I read that. That's the rift. Book about Elias. Oh, this is the one we already knew, so never mind. What about Sam? No, so let's do periodical. Nope. All right. We read this. Let's go down. That's not it. That had us flagged like crazy. Okay. Let's try this again. Oh, I did this already. Search. Nothing on music. We could look up other people. Actually, what is Lawrence? Lauren is a Roottree. In the wake of Six Pieces' release, she was tracked down by a reporter as being in one of the most upscale memory care facilities in Pittsburgh. She was relocated back to Pennsylvania, where she began suffering from Alzheimer's. Wow. Alright. Ooh, what is next? Okay, this is what we're doing. In the wake of Six Pieces' release, Lauren, author of A Life Between Wars, was tracked down by a reporter as being in one of the most upscale memory care facilities. Oh, I did read that. Let's go to People's 2. Poor Lauren. There was a minor backlash towards the reporter that tracked Lauren down because they were caught standing on a ladder and holding their camera over the privacy wall to take a photo of Lauren and her son Clark sitting at the bench outside near a small pond on the premises. Wow. Huh. Let's see if something's changed. Oh, something did. When revisiting the book, there's a single passage that focuses on potential affairs in her immediate family. You've added it to the rest of your evidence. Cool. Okay. Be something good. I'll be all those pages. It's not perfect. I don't think, yeah, there's nothing here. I'm just happy you're not in it. An entry entitled Cruelty from the diary. It focuses on the relationship between mother and father. While it offered only redundant information during your previous investigation, it mentions the subject of affairs and may be more useful this time around. I am no stranger to true love. Jacob and I married at an age that most deem unfit for marriage, but he was also enlisting at an age that most deem unfit for war. We had no choice. I knew in my heart that our marriage was one for the ages. He and I would still be together today if not for Okinawa. That was nearly 20 years ago, but there is an emptiness in my soul. I do not understand my contemporaries. So many girls I went to school with have taken multiple lovers. So many of my girlfriends' husbands have been unfaithful. If I am able to remain true to the ghost of a man with no chance of physical recuperation, no potential for a long conversation, how could it be so hard to love someone you can reach out and touch, someone you can joke with? I have not had to deal with such madness at home. My parents are a perfect match in the worst way. My mother's cruelty is a perfect fit for my father's general spite. We did see in the last diary, we knew that the daddy, her father was he had anger issues, and a mom sometimes would try to temper it, but not all the time. But her remarks were also cruel. But she made a remark against, where is he? Zachariah, when he became president. In turn, pop status enables her insistent need to gloat and feel superior. I have grown up with their cruelty and disdain for others my entire life. Even my family remains unspared. They make fun of my grandpop and his family, saying, blood is thicker than syrup, but nothing's thicker than Elias? Oh, wow. They mimic Grandma Gwyneth's list and see her kindness as a weakness. Elias, please remember Thiam. Not even our family's maladies and religion go unmocked. Remember, God only put one eye in miracle. I can say without a doubt in my mind that my parents have never had good eyes for anyone outside their marriage. I've never had eyes. They're too self-centered to look astray. Wow. That's sad. Let's search for Elias. Elias and Gwyneth Roottrie were never really celebrities, but the general public's perception of them are classic faces associated with the Roottree Candy Company, and always been in somewhat high regards. This was Elias's intentions as a family man with his family brand. Since Six Pieces, the candy company has placed much less of an emphasis on Elias as a historical brand-connected figure. But there have also been those who have argued that it was his right to decide how to split his inheritance and that he did nothing wrong. This has led to some heated television exchanges and countless op-eds. The first Anderson Maple Farm only used to be a popular tourist attraction during the summer months when it had special tours. However, it has since seen an explosion of off-season business as some religious and political groups decided to visit to show support for Elias and Gwyneth's traditional values and financial rights. This rise in support was in turn followed by pickets for gay rights activists when some particularly inflammatory organizations made their pilgrimages. Among all this conflict, the farm has since shut down, seemingly indefinitely. The website says check back later, but has no date listed. The quotes from Bess Williams' books appear to have been taken down. Bess Williams. Search. Bess Williams was an author born in the late 1800s. She lived just outside of Miami and died tragically young in a major hurricane that struck the area in 1926. She had some minor history with the Roottrees. Her only notable book, Family Man, is widely considered blatant propaganda about Elias Roottree. It has been all but forgotten until recently when it was re-released during the height of Roottreemania. There is a site dedicated to hurricane statistics that also mentions Bess Williams. I don't know if this is going to be something we need, but the Bocadoro Library, not far from where she lived, was partially destroyed in the hurricane. When they rebuilt, they named the nonfiction section after her. The library was expanded again in 1950 and then closed in 1963 when multiple larger libraries opened in the surrounding area that made it redundant. Family Man. Bess Williams. Library. Family Man. He's something good. A printing of an old book about Elias Roottree. It's blatant corporate propaganda. Okay, let's see. Oh, we get a picture with you. That's not good. The dictionary defines propaganda as information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. But if there were to replace the definition with a picture, it would be a picture of this book. The book tells you nothing new about Elias, and from what you know of his true feelings towards some of his extended family, you're not sure it tells you anything true about Elias either. The reissue of this book was too lazy that they used the infamous photo of Elias from Business Watch, whose copyright had expired. The best thing it has gone for, it is only 85 pages long. What? The Roottree Legacy. Something's up. Obviously. After this, we'll do. Oh, wait. That's to be. Yep. Nothing we need here. Let's do best. Okay. No pickle tea. I'm shocked there's nothing on pickle tea. Okay. We know Elias is somewhere in here. For sure. It's just, where would he be? 1998. He would be one of the... Let's see if we can find it. We just have to fill it out. And we need 4. I have 3. So let's see. Nope. So it's not here for you. 1921, it would be you though. Why wouldn't it be? 21. Yeah. Oh, that's so annoying. Did I miss something? I feel like it has to be the 1921 one. Only so many that were alive. So let's do... And... Who is wrong? Are you not a cashier, Joanna Fellows? I'm pretty sure you were. I thought I did that wrong. It would be somewhere in all of this. only 30 Davy. I don't think it was just I can jump. Where did I find the information about Felix's mom? Can we do it this way? Not that one. Yeah, that's right. Does it go by what? Okay, can we do secretary? Huh. I feel like it's David. Were you a secretary? Does it go about when you guys first got together or no? We know Miracle somewhere. He sure has a picture. Nope. Let's see. Oh, this is annoying. This one sucks because I don't know if it's going to go by secretary or cashier. Most recent occupation, got it. Possible. Was the old ones scratched off? No, I guess not. I feel like they were though. I said, what is this? Hmm. Let's see. Let's try Clark again. We only did one? Okay, maybe. I don't know if that does this. Okay. Let's leave a note to start back here. Then let's end this here. And when we come back, we'll continue. So thank you, everyone. I hope you're having a fantastic time and see you soon.